All right, so continuous integration. So what is continuous integration? So in short, it's just basically an integration of code into a known or working code base. More briefly, it's a developmental practice that requires developers to integrate code into a shared repository several times a day. So then if you have a CI tool integrated, then each build is tested, and if you have any problems with that, you can detect like super quickly. This picture here sort of like it tells you about that. So in this picture, the guy on the left, Carl, is talking to Steve. He's sitting on a chair. And that chair is like an analogy of a feature branch, and that feature branch is breaking the code, and hence it's freaking out there. And you can see like if it's freaking, it won't let you check in code that's broken. That's about it. Right. So why CI is such a rocking thing? So I have like a couple of pointers why it's such a rocking thing, because it solves like a couple of problems. So the first problem is that when you're working in a group project and several people are like working in parallel, so there's like an integration problem, and CI solves that integration problem. So how to make sure that work done separately can be integrated like nicely. So there are like different levels of integration problem. It's like merge conflicts, there are compilation conflicts, there are test conflicts. So let's say Colin has a bunch of feature branches to be merged into master, and those feature branches are not tested. That if we push that code to master and then to Heroku, whatever deployment platform we're using, that is going to work. So if we have a CI tool integrated, that will make sure that feature branch, so every time you like push a commit to the feature branch, it will build that code to production and everything. If you have set it up that way, it will test that. And if you have any tests or any integrations that you have set up, it will test that and make sure that your code is clean to go. All right, so basic concepts of CI. These are like some of the core concepts that are out there, that the system must be able to be built and tested. And one of the really important ones, that everyone should commit their changes frequently. So like if you do that, then like really early in the process that if the commit you have made has any problems or not. Upon commit, the system is immediately and automatically integrated, and the magic is that it's all automatic. And the whole practice is like you doing developments in time increments, which is sort of like good practice. Next is like how it works. It's like a brief overview how does the linear dynamic process goes through. So you sort of like working in your private workspace, and then when you're done, you commit changes to the repository, and then the CI, continuous integration server, monitors the repository because you have integrated through GitHub or whatever other code base you have integrated through. It will check out any changes that happen to your code, and then it will build the system and runs unit test or any integration test, and then the CI server informs the team of any if your the build is successful, it will tell you. If not, it will alert you, and then you sort of have to, like, if there's any problem, you just have to like look at it and then fix it if the software can't do that part. And then you have to sort of like continually integrate and test throughout the project. So this picture here is sort of like the gist of it. You have a GitHub logo, and there's a Bitbucket logo here. And then this whole circle, I think I got this picture from CodeShip. So all the magic happens here. So every time when you have integrated CI tool, whenever you do like git push, origin master, or origin whatever feature branch, all of this magic happens. And then when you have set it up to like deploy to production, once everything is good, it will go up and do that. So automatic production, deployment to production, that's part of it. All right, so these are some of the tools that are out there. CodeShip, Travis, Jenkins, some of the old ones used to be called Hudson. I can imagine those being complex, but in my opinion and from my experience and in our chess app project, we as a group decided to like go with CodeShip because it was like their UI is pretty slick, and it was like really easy to set up. Like 5 minutes, I was able to integrate my Flixtor app and the chess app. I did play with Travis, and we were having some problems. You maybe not, but like I would suggest CodeShip if you're like a beginner like me and a lot of people here. All right. Next, so these are some of the pain points I think there are like CI tools are solving. It's like no more manual push to production. You don't have to like worry about like git push or master and then worry about like databases being migrated and all that. Bugs and problems discovered quickly. So if you have a bug in your code, you wrote some logic that doesn't work or it's breaking some of the tests, and as soon as you push your commit and push to GitHub, it will like tell you that something's wrong. The system is like deployable more frequently since you have like a feature branch, and if it's working, you can quickly deploy to production. Yep. Yeah, so like if you're working on Splurdy or Nomster, I would say like finish that according to the like Firehose curriculum, and then once you're done, you should like try integrating a CI tool to because it's like important to like know the manual process too. But once you have that integrated, then you don't have to like worry about pushing to Heroku and then migrating the data. It does all by itself. Yep, that was that. And then if you stay around, then me and Colin are going to work on integrating CI into one of the Lightning Talk apps. Yep, so that's about it. If you have any questions, ask me.
Awesome, good job. Anybody have questions?
Are you guys doing a live demo now?
Yeah, eventually. I mean, we'll let everybody go if they want to. We don't need to keep them around if they don't want to hang out for it.
Well, I'm down for a live demo.
Well, if anyone else wants to stick around after this live demo to see T-Mux is working right now.
Hey, Faisal, I've got a quick question for you.
Yes, Matt.
I'm basically a shill right now since we're on the group project together. But so when you're talking about having it monitor your GitHub repo or whatever and do testing for you, what branches is it watching for you? How does that stop you from breaking your code?
So I remember we had I can give you an example. We had some tests, and the way we had logic in there, so it will look for the feature branch. It will look for every feature branch that comes in, and every time you do git push version to that feature branch, every time you do commit, it tracks the changes, and then every time you push, it knows that the new code is up, and then it runs all the tests. Just like we do rake in the console, it runs the tests and makes sure all of them are passing. So yeah, I'm not sure if that answered your question.
Yeah, because I didn't really work on it when you were doing the deployment. You set that up. So when you did the initial setup, you basically just add the repo to.
Yeah, so like you do the repo, and then you like do a bunch of like configurations. It asks for your Heroku API key, something like that, some key from Heroku, and then you tell them like when do you want to push to Heroku. Is it only when you merge it to master, or like if you have the option to like push to Heroku on each feature branch, or
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
No worries.
So I have a question. Did the workflow that you take change much once you started using CodeShip, or can you talk about maybe like anecdotes of like the how like this CI has made your life better?
Yeah, so like before CI, I would be like worrying about if the code I have written, if the logic is working. Even though I have like tested locally, maybe if Nimai has wrote some other logic, some of the tests, and that happened. Like the tests I wrote were failing because we had some old tests, and they have like some factories. The way the factories were built were right, and locally it was like all working, and then when I pushed to to up there to Heroku, and it was breaking. So I think it's really time saving, and that's the kind of like life. Before I would have to worry about like migrating the data to Heroku, and then you push Heroku master. Doing all that, you don't have to worry about that once you time saving and not worrying about like if you have any broken code.
He and Josh just broke up, and she's devastated.
I thought we were talking about you and Blair.
Now we're talking about Harry and Josh. Great.
That's funny.
All right.
Who's watching TV?
I've got a little inception going on, so
I can't believe Chuck Liddell is still air thrusting like that.
Am I sharing my screen still? I'm not sure how to get rid of
If you hover over your screen at the very bottom, you should see a little button that says Stop Screen Share.
I think it might be actually at the top.
At the top, sorry. Yep.
Oh, okay, cool.
There you go.
Cool. Good stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, so our live demo works, and I don't have an environment set up, so we're gonna have to do it on my laptop. But does anybody else have questions for continuous integration?
Just a quick, like, one sentence on top of it, right? If you right now, and I think Faisal said that too, if you're in the Splitty or if you're in the Nostr, don't necessarily go in and trying to set up CodeShip right now. It's like, first you got to be really comfortable with how to use Git and GitHub, and then like do that next. This is the next step, because it's automation that will make it easier for you to deploy. But at the same time, you want to make sure you have everything set up properly and you know what's happening when you push up to master.
True. Yeah.
And actually, I want to respond to Ken's question about anecdotes for changing workflow, because I'm in Faisal's chess group, and one of the things that I saw that it was something that I forget about all the time when I'm pushing directly to Heroku is raking my database. You know, getting those migrations done. And when you get that CI in place, you don't even have to think about that anymore, because you can set it to automatically do a bundle install, automatically do a rake, all that sort of thing for you when you do that push. And it just becomes, you know, once you've got it working, you know, you rake locally, you know, run all your tests, you push it up there and it greens up and pushes up to Heroku or whatever you're deploying on. You don't even have to think about that. It's just once you've pushed to that master branch or merged a pull request, you know your code goes live on your app. So that's pretty sweet.